This week's video is focal blending, and it's basically taking the same scene at two different focal lengths and blending them together, as the title suggests. So today's is based around this castle here, which is Dunure Castle on the Ayrshire coast. And I've been down for a wee while now. It's the rain starting to get a bit heavier now, but I've been down for a wee while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some of the compositions that I took and how I went through the process of blending them together. Grade A, nothing too nice going on, but really nice to be out. And I'm actually seeing more and more compositions the more I travel down here. And it's only 10 minutes away from the house, but it's really nice to be down. And I say but a lot, and I don't know why. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to look at compositions, and it's, as you can see just now, I'm filming this in the GoPro, so we've got everything in here, the castle up there, and the castle looks quite far away, but to be honest, the castle is only about 150, 80 metres away. It's only about 80 metres away at the most, and it doesn't look so impressive. So what we do with focal blending is we take the shot to consider the foreground or the background, and then we either zoom into one or the other with the same lens at the same time. Is it a widely used technique? I'm unsure, but it's definitely a technique that's worth having in your skill base. Okay, for this one, I've got my composition, and hopefully you can hear me above the water coming in. I've got my composition, and the tide is at the moment just going out, so my first shot is going to be the rocks in the foreground, and I'll show you this in a second in camera. And then I've got more rocks in the middle ground and then the castle in the background. So the composition I've got, because the tide's now come out from the time I've originally set up, there's rocks going out the screen or going out the shot, but I'm going to leave them since seeing as this is just a tutorial on how to do it. So my first shot is set up at around 22. And I'm just going to take that shot. I'm not focus stacking or anything for this. I'll just make sure my timer's on. And take the first shot. Second shot will still be the same. I'll just focus in the middle ground. And the only reason I'm doing that is because this rock in front of me isn't even 60 centimetres away, so I'll need that extra bit of focus there. And then for my final shot, I'm going to zoom into the castle. Now this will change my horizon, and you can move the horizons up and mark it somewhere on your screen visually so that you'll see. But again, for this example, I'm not going to do that. So what I've now done is I've got a lock in the castle. I'll just zoom in and I'll take that shot. Now the castle is focus right in at 30 mil. So we started at 22 and I've went into about 30. And what basically that's going to do is it's going to nearly replicate what I can see here. So I'll show you this in the camera and then I'll move around and do other shots using the castle. So hopefully you can see that there. So what I'm doing is the castle in the background I've focused at 30. These rocks here are focused around 22, and there's a rock just here in the foreground that I've focused at 22 as well, and then we're going to blend them together in post. With this composition in particular, I don't need to do this, but the castle, because I'm shooting with the 14 to 30, and I'm going to try and keep everything to the 14 to 30 just to show you with this, the castle doesn't look that impressive. But if I shoot at the moment, I'm currently shooting at 19, 20 mil. And for my final shot, I'll zoom in again, but I want to show you a couple of considerations when doing this. What I normally do is I'll normally work from background to foreground, but in this case, because I am going to be doing a focal blend, I'm going to work from foreground to background. So I've taken my first marker shot of my hand, and then I am going to focus in the foreground and take the shot. Then I'm going to move to the middle ground, just in front of the castle, or should I say the rock, just there. And then I'm going to shoot the rocks either side. Shoot more, and hopefully that'll give me plenty of latitude. Right, now my castle, if I shoot that just now, which I'm about to do, at 19-20mm, I've now got that collection of images that I can use. But what I have to do now, or what I'm wanting to do now, is make that castle, if I don't fall over, make that castle look more impressive in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt the camera back. Right, this is a ball head tripod, so I've got to be careful how I tilt this back. So what I'm going to be looking at is that I don't move it too much, and that I can bring the castle in. Now, if I wanted, because this is a wide angle lens, I could tilt the camera right down, which will take up the castle and make it look more impressive in frame. And that I would normally do anyway, but as I say, I wanted to show you this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom into my castle quite a bit. I'm going to get into 30mm for the purposes of this. I'm going to loosen my ball head just slightly, and in my case I put my thumb under it so that it doesn't just fall directly back. And I'm going to try and keep the castle at the top of the frame in the lens. But what I'm doing is I'm trying to make it look as I see it just now. So I'll get a focus on it. I'm quite happy with what I've done there. I'll get a focus. I'll just zoom in, get a focus on that. And it's a grey day today, so these might end up black and white shots. Okay, for this, what I have done is I've selected the first 5, including the castle, which was the final shot there, and there you can see the zoomed in castle. So I've selected these, right click them, edit in, and open as layers in Photoshop. Now that they've opened as layers in Photoshop, I'm going to select them all and I'm going to make them a group. And then I'm going to copy the group up. And that's just in case you get any anomalies when you are editing. From here, I'm going to select all those 5 images and then go to Edit, Auto Align Layers, click OK. Then from here, I am going to go to Edit, Auto Blend Layers. And what that'll do is that'll take into consideration first focus, second, third, fourth and fifth. Click OK and let Photoshop do its work. Now that Photoshop's done that, what we'll do is we'll zoom in just to check for any anomalies within the image. And that could be rocks or spots. And I won't spend too much time doing this. And it looks okay from there. Right. Centre that back out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to compress that into one layer, which is Shift, Control, Alt and E. And we now have layer 1. Right. As I don't have any anomalies, in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete both of these groups, so that I only have one image here. Now I'm going to jump back into Lightroom, and I'm going to go to my final image of the 5, and straight away you can see the difference there. If I zoom in there, you can see that it's focused on the castle in the background. Right, no editing has happened here at all. So what I'm going to do is edit in Photoshop. And that's it in Photoshop. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go select all, edit copy, go into this image here and go edit paste. Now I normally do that with shortcuts, but just for this. And this is where I was talking about the considerations you have to make. When I'm blending this, as you'll see, these rocks come in down here and then up over here, and we've got the grass coming in there. And as you can see, I'm zoomed in quite a bit here, so I've got to work out where the blend is going to happen here so that we don't notice it too much. So to work that out, I'm going to jump into difference. And there you can see the difference in the image. So in the background there we can see the original castle and the original shot, and now we have the new castle. So looking at this, what I can do is I can move this around using my arrow keys. So I'm on the move tool, so I can take that down and I can see where everything is going to blend. So that's that moving down there, or I can take it up to make sure it blends in okay. It depends how much of this we actually want to see. Now what we've also got to watch for is if I zoom in here, where the bushes are or the trees are, I'll just move it up. I'm going to hold down shift just so that you can see it. So I could start at about there if I wanted, but I would lose some of it here. But at the same time, it would give me quite a lot of the castle in it. So I have to look down here as well to see what's going on. Do I want that to stop there, or do I want it to blend in from down here? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it up there, zoom back out and check what I can see up here. Now I may be able to blend that in. So I'm going to take it down up a little bit, just to about there, just to see how that's going to blend. And I'm now going to take that back to normal mode. So if I take that back to normal and I turn that off, I can see grass there and rocks there. So straight away you can tell that isn't going to blend properly. So we've got to look at it from the point of view that we need to make this look as natural as possible. Although it is composited in, we need to make it look as natural as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it down so that my blend happens from here, and it's now below that area. So we're now going to get back into normal mode, and I'm going to hide this. So I know that within this area here, something's going to change, as in the castle is going to get bigger. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this quite quickly for the sake of the video. So I'm not taking my time here until I get closer to the rocks, because I don't want to blend any of them out. And I'll just bring in that sky as well. Bring it in there. And let's see how we can blend it in here. Take the brush down, because we've got to watch, we've got to make it look as seamless as possible. And there, can we afford to take any of this away? And another thing to watch out for as well is repetition, because although these rocks are here, we've zoomed in and we may have repetition from other rocks, so we've got to watch out for that as well. Go up here, and what I'll do is I'll speed the video up at this part so that you aren't sitting watching me blending this in. Okay, now that I've done that, and it is a quick edit just for the purposes of the video, it's just to let you see that you have to choose your areas carefully where you're blending. If you have a lot of grass, for example, on the horizon line, that is going to be quite difficult, and by that I mean fine grass like marram grass. It is going to be really difficult to blend that together to make it look natural. The shots that I chose for this video were chosen intentionally. So what I'll do is I'll go on and edit this and show you the final image. where you blend these images together is just as important as how you shoot them, and you should always be aware that anomalies can crop up, but you don't want it to be too much. You don't want to suddenly zoom in from 70mm to 200. Okay, I'm going to show you another couple of examples of this, and I've got a foreground here and a background, and again I've raised the tripod up. This is compositing, but it's compositing using focal blending. I wouldn't just take the shot and then zoom in and expand the top half of the image to do that, because you're going to end up with a slightly different resolution and slightly different detail, and probably the best way of putting that. So I'm actually shooting it in 2 shots at the same location, same time. Okay, for this I've got my foreground composition, and I'm not going to bracket this. The sky is, as you can see, totally grey today, but I'm not going to bracket it just for the sake of this video, so that you can see exactly what's happening. So I'm going to take my foreground image, excuse me, I'm focused about 1/3 of the way in. I'll just get a zoom in there, check my timer's on, click OK, zoom in, get a lock, take the shot. And as you can hear, the wind's getting up as well, so hopefully you can still hear me over this. For my next shot, I want the castle to be as I see it just now. Right now, I'm looking at the castle and it's about this size on the screen. When I look here, the castle is quite impressive. And it's not a case of the Father Ted sketch with the cows. The castle is quite impressive standing here. If I was to shoot this with the 24-70, it still would be, because I would put the castle into the top half of the frame, and that would give it what I can actually see just now. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to loosen off the ball head, tilt it back as best I can to about there, and then I'm going to zoom right in to around about 24. Got a lock in the castle, zoom in, take the shot. Right, as I said, I'm not bracketing these ones because I just want to show you the technique. Plus, there's got a lot of dynamic range in this camera, so hopefully I won't need to. Although the sky is gone, we might be able to bring something back if I do that. But let's just go for it and see. I'll take one there anyway, just as a safety shot. So I'm going to do the same for another couple of compositions just around this area, because I quite like the composition and the angle I have here. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you've learned another technique if you didn't already know it. If you did enjoy the video, remember to hit that like button, as it really helps the channel. And if you're currently not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. Thanks again for watching, and remember, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Remember as well, your bore for removing any water. I've only got white rain just now, but the bore will get rid of that without causing any smears on the lens.